Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 138th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I have put onto YouTube. The team I'm in today consists of Brotherhood member Lion Dwarf, who has bought the Egyptian faction, unusual faction to bring to the 31k battlefield. And then we have Brotherhood member Uther, who has bought the Rome Julii faction. And then we have Brotherhood member Mystique, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. And then myself, Spartan Commander, who has also bought the Rome Scipio faction. So there's our team there, full of good players. Lots of experience in this team too. But you wait till you see the other team. I think this has got the ingredients to be a classic battle. At this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at Lion Dwarf's Egyptian army here. For a couple of weeks, Brotherhood member Steve Longshanks, Lion Dwarf and myself have been talking about introducing Egypt to the 31k battlefield as something a little bit different. And Lion Dwarf has been experimenting with this army on custom, and I think he's just bought it to see how well it would do against human players. And here you can see he's got his Pharaoh Guard pikemen. They're the elite infantry of the Egyptian army. They're pretty tough. And here's a little bit of a surprise package that a lot of you might know about, is that this desert cavalry, yes, it's light cavalry, but if you notice the axes that they carry there, those axes are effective against armour. And this cavalry used correctly can be a real challenge for other heavily armoured cavalry on the battlefield, because those axes are effective against armour. So it should be interesting to see how well they do. And then we have the infamous Pharaoh archers. Now if you notice at the upgrades that Lion Dwarf has put on these archers, can you see they've got 8 upgrades on them, almost fully upgraded. And these archers, Pharaoh archers, are so tough you can use them as light infantry once they've run out of arrows. They're that tough. So with those upgrades on, they are not going to be messed with, I don't think. And then we have, you've got a couple more units of his desert cavalry, light cavalry, don't forget, but effective against armour. And then he's got a couple of chariot archers there as well. Those chariot archers, they move fast, and used correctly they can be effective, especially hitting infantry in the flanks and the rear, because you can move them so fast around the battlefield. That's a big advantage for them. So that's the Egyptian army to me, that we've just shown you there. Looks very effective to me, and should be interesting to see how well it does. And just while we're here looking at the armies at the moment, I'd just like to have a look at Mystique's army for this particular battle. And if you notice, Brotherhood member Mystique has bought 20 infantry units. She's used the Eagle unit, the 1st Legionary Cohort unit, as her general there. And if you notice that she's surrounded by 19 urban cohort units. So no cavalry there, and it'll be interesting to see if that amount of infantry will balance out against having no cavalry. Should be a great battle to watch. And here is the other team. We have Brotherhood member Killer B, who has bought the Rome SBQR faction. He calls himself Constantine in this battle. Then we have Brotherhood member Gladius, who has bought the Greek cities faction. And then we have RTW player Hanny. I think it's Hannibal Barker, but most people nickname him Hanny, and he has bought the Rome SBQR faction. And then we have Brotherhood member Spartan Leonidas, who has also bought the Rome SBQR faction. So there's the enemy team there. As you can see, full of really great players, and I would think this, as I said before, has got the ingredients to be a classic battle here. As you can see, Lion Dwarf has got his chariot archers out on that far right flank. Just to say, I've done something unusual here. I've put a very modern battle on this morning. This battle was only fought last night, Friday the 19th of June 2015. Usually I put older battles on that I've saved from a while ago, but I just thought for something different I put a battle on that was only fought last night. So it's as fresh, the paint still hasn't dried yet, if you like. So as I say, it's a brand new one, and I hope you enjoy it. At this very early stage of the battle, you can see that Brotherhood member Killer with his SBQR army is being extremely aggressive, moving towards our allies' Julii army there. If you notice that Uther's old school cavalry general there, he's using quite effectively as a bit of an harassment and annoyance unit there, smashed into the SPQR infantry there, and then just pulls out. But those cavalry armoured units, as I say, are old school and they're extremely difficult to kill. So nice little move there by Uther. As you can see, this is the general picture here. As you can see, the Pharaoh archers here are firing volley after volley into the enemy advancing enemy army. If you notice that they're in close or tight formation, that's because they're not actually fighting any enemy archers yet. So they're in close formation, so they can deliver more of an intense targeted arrow hit there. But the moment they come up against other archers, they'll go into loose order. At this stage of the battle, over on our right flank here, you can see that Gladius has brought over his Cretan archers to counter our Pharaoh archers there. If you notice that our Pharaoh archers now have moved into open order. Remember, when you use archers, if you keep them in close formation against our other archers, the chances are your archers will be killed really quickly. You need to put them into open order. And in open order, you can see how spread out they are, so it's more difficult for people to kill them. Here you can see there's a Cretan archers there. There you can see a few of them taking some casualties there. But remember the upgrades we saw on the Pharaoh archers. So I think they're going to be pretty tough to kill myself. Yeah, as I said, I think they had 8 upgrades on each. So their attack and their defense is going to be phenomenal on top of their normal specifications. So my guess is that those Pharaoh archers are probably going to get the better of those Greek Cretan archers there. As you can see, there's a little bit of skirmishing going on over here on the right flank between Killer Bee's SPQR army and Uther's Julii army. As you can see, Lion Dwarf has moved his pike units, his Pharaoh guards, into the middle of Mystique's Scipii army there. You notice that Uther's got his cavalry in behind his infantry there, ready to use when he needs to. If you notice that Lion Dwarf has moved his chariot archers over to the left here, probably with a view to shooting the enemy SPQR infantry in the flank with those archers if he can. You see over here on our left flank, it seems to be quite quiet at the moment, and in the left centre seems to be quite quiet as well. But those of you that's watched regular battle videos of ours will know that things don't very often stay quiet. Areas that are quiet sometimes just become action filled in just a moment. So we'll just have to see what happens as the battle develops. Here I'm showing you, if you like, an overview of the battle situation at the moment. As you can see, Uther's making the most of his cavalry general there, that armoured cavalry general. You see he's charged it into one of Killer's pilot shield units that was in open order. Remember, infantry that is in open order suffers more casualties from cavalry attacks than infantry in close order. If you notice now how few Cretan archers are left. Do you remember the Cretan archers were actually having a bit of a tournament with the Pharaoh archers? And let's see how many Pharaoh archers are left. And if you look and see how many Pharaoh archers are left in comparison to the Cretan archers, you can see that in this particular battle, with the upgrades that those Pharaoh archers have got on them, they appear to be the superior archers there against the Cretan archers. So that's an interesting little tussle there between two lots of elite archers. Of course, if this was a desert battlefield, so that Egypt was getting the desert bonus, then the Egyptian troops would do even better. So I thought it was pretty good of Lion Dwarf to bring this Egyptian army onto a winter battlefield with no bonus. So he's he's kind of really experimented with this Egyptian army in not advantageous conditions either. Meanwhile, over on our left flank here, you can see that I'm facing a Brotherhood member, Spartan Leonidas. And it is, as I said before, it's quite quiet over here on our left flank. I think you can see that RTW player Hani is skirmishing with Mystique's forward units. You notice he's got his SBQR units attacking there. And there you go, you get a general overview of the battle situation so far.
They're attacking us.
As you can see, Hani's throwing more units into that skirmish in the left centre there with Mystique's troops. Should be interesting to see when the Spartans and those Pharaoh pikemen come to blows, if you like, in the centre there. Should be interesting to see how well each side does there. If you notice that the Greek city's general, the enemy Greek city's general Gladius, has brought out 3 Spartan units to the far right flank here, threatening Uther's right flank. Nice little tactical move there by Gladius. Meanwhile, he's attacking the centre with his Spartans there. If you notice that RTW player Hani is now attacking with his SBQR units there. And over here on the left flank, it's looking like the way the armours are looking there, it wouldn't surprise me if Spartan Leonidas tried a flanking action there. And here you can see a cavalry charge coming in here. And bang, as that cavalry hits. You can see Scipio infantrymen being thrown up into the air with the impact of that cavalry. There you can see another SBQR cavalry charge coming in as well, and that is some kind of impact on Mystique's units there that's trying to hold the centre left. Yeah, centre left there. You notice I'm sending some cavalry in there to charge into that one unit on their flank. And if you notice that I'm moving my infantry tighter in to our centre there to be able to support Mystique if needed there, as she's getting a bit of a battering there from lots of cavalry hits and infantry hits there coming in. So we need to support there. If you notice that Uther's brought his Julii cavalry over at the back and is going to charge in as well. It's all about teamwork here, trying to relieve pressure off your teammates on the battlefield. See, good, nice little teamwork move there by Uther, bringing his cavalry in there just to take a little bit of pressure off of Mystique's units there. Let's say I've moved my infantry over there a little bit as well to be able to help if needed. If you notice, the enemy are now counter-attacking with cavalry, their SBQR cavalry charging back in. But it's given time, Mystique's time to be able to reorganise her troops there. I'm just going to pause the game for a moment for us to take stock of the situation. Here you can see on the left flank, things are a little bit quiet there really. In the left centre though, you can see there's quite a big attack going on in there. But with ally support, Mystique's managed to steady her units there. And as you can see, the Greek cities and the SBQR units are attacking there. I see the Spartans are actually fighting with the Pharaoh Guard now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there in that left centre. There's a lot of enemy SBQR infantry attacking as well. There's a Spartan general with Spartan units pushing through there. So our centre's not looking all that good, I don't think, at the moment. If you notice over here on the right flank, do you remember we saw those Greek city units flanking? They're now attacking, and Killers just charges cavalry in as well. So, yeah, I think this battle is still very much up in the air. But maybe the enemy team seems to be getting a slight advantage at this stage. If you notice that some of Uther's Julii units here are routing on the right flank, they're being hit by cavalry and Spartan units as well. If you notice that Lion Dwarf has brought over some light desert cavalry there with their effective against armour axes there, ready to use when needed. But if you notice, those 3 Spartan units are really impressing onto Uther's Julii infantry, plus the enemy SBQR infantry attacking his front as well. If you notice that Uther's just in a cavalry charge there, nice little cavalry hit there by Uther, trying to take pressure off of his infantry there, but obviously taking out as many SBQR infantry as he can with his cavalry. If you notice now, the SBQR cavalry are counter-attacking. Well, he was going to, but he decided to stop there. But things are really looking touch and go here on our right flank. Meanwhile, over on our left flank here, you can see that Spartan Leonidas is doing a left flanking action there. Can you see he's brought units out? But they are a little bit isolated, so I'm going to send infantry units over to kind of engage them. He's charging cavalry into the front of units of my infantry there, but I'm going to send infantry units out to engage these infantry units, and then I want to hit them with my cavalry. I don't want to, if I can, I'd like to hit them while they're on the move. If you hit infantry when they're on the move, you can cause more casualties. But I'm going to charge in there. I want to stop this left flanking action that the SL's doing. So what I'm doing, I've thrown infantry and cavalry in there in the hope of routing as many of the enemy SBQR infantry as I can. If you notice there, remember what we've always said, cavalry units in, bang, do as much damage as you want, and then pull straight back out to get the full cavalry charge bonus. Okay, I'm just going to pause the game here for us to take stock of the situation. As you can see here on the left flank, SL and myself are in a fierce battle there. In our centre, you can see things are not looking all that good. Mystique's holding very well, but being really battered there by the enemy attacks. So it'll be interesting to see if we can hold our centre there. And over on the right flank, can you see the combination of enemy Spartans and SBQR units are attacking Uther's Julii units there. So there's an overall picture of the battle at the moment. I can see a lot of our allied units are routed at the moment, so I'm not sure exactly how things are looking for our team, but with all our routing allied units not looking that good. Let's see what happens next. Remember what I said, pull the cavalry back, rally them, get them into formation again with a view to charge back in to get that full cavalry charge bonus. See, I've pulled them back, rallied them. Notice they're all in wedge formation for more penetration when they hit the enemy infantry. If you notice, the SBQR infantry are pulling back again, knowing what was coming in. But this time my infantry are chasing them to engage them, and then my cavalry is going to smash into them, hopefully causing a lot of casualties at least, if not routing some of the units there. So if you notice, the enemy SBQR units that are coming around to flank me, I've managed to turn that round a little bit there and have caused them a lot of casualties. If you notice now, on our centre, it's a fierce battle going on. Over on our right flank there, Uther's doing incredibly well, holding out against SBQR and Greek cities as well. And I notice that our Egyptian ally is helping out quite a lot as well there. So well done to Lyondorf with his Egypt force. If you notice here over on the left, the enemy SBQR ally, I think it's Hannes, bringing reinforcements over from the centre to attack my army there. If you notice there, I'm charging in cavalry, going for the SBQR general there, unit. If you notice, a lot of the enemy SBQR units on our left flank is now routing. So we haven't done too bad on the left flank. I'm just going to pause the game here to take stock of the situation. Let's say here on the left flank here, you can see a lot of the SBQR units are routing. But if you look here, you can see the victorious SBQR infantry of Hanni's army coming through the centre and attacking my army over here on the left. Mystique held extremely well there in the centre, but against the battering that she was getting, really did hold well there for as long as she could. Over on the right here, you can see that Uther's Julii force is doing extremely well, as I said, against Killer's SBQR army and the Greek cities army there. But as you can see, if you were a betting person now, which way do you think this battle is going to go? Looking at how many, especially on how many Spartan units are left. This, I think this battle, whichever way it's going to go right down to the wire here. As I say, Uther's done extremely well here on the right flank, holding as well as he did, and he's had a lot of good support by Lyondorf's Egyptian army there. So that was nice bit of teamwork there over on the right. As you can see here, I'm just going to charge my cavalry in. I'm going for the enemy general there. If I can kill him, as you know, I'll lower the morale of the rest of his troops. My cavalry is extremely battle damaged now, so it didn't do the impact that I wanted it to. Right, so don't forget, I've charged in, going to charge back out. Now, if you notice, Uther is bringing over some cavalry. Now, if he charges in as well into the back of that enemy SBQR infantry, we may well have a bit of a rout on our hands. And there we have. We've managed to rout that SBQR army that was coming over from the centre there. So, nice little hit there by Uther's cavalry. So, as you can see there, if you look on the battlefield now, you can see there's a lot of Spartan units left. I'd just like to draw your attention to this little battle going on. Do you remember I said that you can use the Pharaoh infantry as light infantry if you want when they fired all their arrows? Well, look how well they're doing against this SBQR cavalry. Okay, the SBQR cavalry is damaged, but it just goes to show how tough those Pharaoh archers are. And you can use them as light infantry there. Right, let's just pause the game here for us to take stock of this this final phase of the battle, I would think here. You can see there's a lot of Greek city units left, and several of the SBQR cavalry and infantry left as well. If you notice, we've got a few battle damaged Scipio units left. We've got an archer chariot unit, and we've just got a few very battle damaged cavalry units left as well. So looking at the situation here, I would guess it's really up in the air, and it really could go either way here. And once again, if you were a betting man watching this, which way do you reckon you'd put your money on? And remember, when you face those Spartan units with their 2 hit points, it's always a challenge. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next. Well, remember, those of you that have watched other battle videos of mine, do you remember me saying that Roman generals never like taking pike units head on? So if you notice, I'm going to move a couple of my infantry units round to the flank of those pike units there. The only time that I would attack those pike units head on is to hold them while I move infantry round to the flanks or rear. So if you notice, I've got 2 infantry units round to the right flank and 2 infantry units round to the left flank there, with a view of getting into the flanks of those pike units. If you notice at the rear there, can you see that the enemy SBQR general is fighting some of our Scipii infantry there and cavalry. So we have now got units in behind the pike units. Now, if you notice, I've brought some very battle damaged cavalry over here. Can you see the battle damaged cavalry I've got? I'm going to charge them into the SBQR infantry. Now, if you see Uther, can you see he just squeezes cavalry between the enemy there? There's a gap between enemy units, and he charges cavalry through, and bang! Into that enemy SBQR infantry at the back there. Nice little cavalry hit there by Uther. Of course, a lot of those, so I think that's most of the enemy SBQR infantry and cavalry have now been routed. So now we just got to concentrate on the Greek cities. Can you see I'm charging in cavalry units into the back of those engaged Greek city units there, and I'm charging infantry in as well, with a view to try and rout as many of those pike units as I can. If you notice, the Greek city's general is bringing over more pike units over there, probably with a view to try and save his general, because if you notice, his general is pretty well surrounded there. I think his general's just been killed there. Let's pause the game for a second for us to take stock of the situation. As you can see here, there's several Greek cities pike units left, and you can see that we've got a lot of battle damaged Scipio infantry left, plus we've got cavalry, a bit of cavalry back as well. So as you can see, that's the situation of the battle at the moment. It'll be interesting to see how it ends. You can see a few of the Greek city units there have just routed. There's still some more Spartan units left on the fight there. But we're managing to attack them. Remember, with pike units, if you attack them from the flank and the rear as well, they can... that's their weak spot. Can you see there's one big Spartan unit left there? Moving in, charging into... but if you notice, we've got a unit on either side of them. I'd just like to show you the dead on the battlefield here. If you can see how intense this battlefield was from one side to the other. If you look at it, there's mass dead all over this battlefield. It's you know, sometimes in battles you've got little tight spots where the most dead are, but if you look at this battlefield, it's spread. The dead are spread all over the battlefield there. That just goes to show how intense and how close this battle is. If you notice where cavalries fight each other, can you see the pile of dead there of cavalry on top of each other? First thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. I thought the other team played extremely well. There was great teamwork, some really great cavalry hits, and some really nice tactical moves by the other team. Really well done, guys. And I'd really like to say really well played to Mystique, Uther and Lion Dwarf. They did great support, and like the other team, really great cavalry charges and some really great tactical moves there. I thought Lion Dwarf bringing his experimental Egyptian army onto the winter battlefield was great, because I know he's been itching to try this Egyptian army for a while now, and bringing it onto a winter battlefield I thought was quite brave of him, really. But from what I could see, it did very well. And he tells me that those Pharaoh archers, I think they had over 150 kills each. So each one of those Pharaoh archer units had over 150 kills each. So that's pretty good for archer units. And as I say, they are pretty tough. So my guess is he learnt a lot from this battle. But once again, I'd just like to say really well played for everybody in the game. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you enjoyed me putting a brand new game on, only fought from last night. Spartan Commander saying see you soon.